WBC interim lightweight champion William Zepeda is determined to leave no doubts when he faces Tevin Farmer in their rematch on Saturday, March 29th, live on DAZN from Cancun, Mexico. After their first fight ended in a razor-thin split decision victory for Zepeda, the undefeated Mexican wants to secure a decisive win this time around. Despite the upcoming bout, fan interest remains lukewarm. Many believe the rematch is unnecessary, as Zepeda already defeated Farmer in their 10-round contest last November 16th in Riyadh. In that fight, Farmer, a former IBF super featherweight champion, frustrated Zepeda with constant clinching, but ultimately faded in the later rounds due to Zepeda's relentless pressure and punishing body work. While Farmer argued that he deserved the nod on the scorecards, the general sentiment among fans is that his style made for a lackluster spectacle, and a second meeting may offer more of the same. Zepeda, however, views the rematch as an opportunity to prove his dominance in the division.
Bueno, pues nosotros decidimos afrontar esta revancha a pesar de que estamos rankeados en los primeros lugares, porque sabemos que Tevin Farmer implica un reto para mí ya ahorita, un reto de dejar un buen sabor de boca a la afición, de demostrar quiénes William Zepeda en la división y pues tener una contundente victoria en mi récord.
The rematch, set for 12 rounds instead of 10, is expected to favor Zepeda's high-pressure, volume-punching style. In their first encounter, he had Farmer visibly exhausted by the later rounds, but was unable to secure a stoppage. With 2 additional rounds to work with, Zepeda will likely push the pace even harder in an attempt to wear down his opponent and force a definitive conclusion. Some observers speculate that Golden Boy Promotions opted for this rematch because they feel Zepeda isn't quite ready for WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson. A lackluster performance against Farmer could cast further doubt on his readiness to challenge Stevenson, who employs a slick, elusive style that could neutralize Zepeda's aggressive approach. To be competitive against a fighter like Stevenson, Zepeda would need to adapt his strategy, as his reliance on close-range pressure and body punching would likely be ineffective against an opponent known for his exceptional footwork and defensive skills. From an entertainment standpoint, Zepeda's high-volume offense is far more engaging than Stevenson's calculated point-scoring style. However, styles make fights, and Zepeda's current approach may not be suited for a technical master like Stevenson. For now, his focus remains on Farmer, and anything short of a dominant victory could stall his path to a world title shot. The event kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on DAZN, with Zepeda looking to silence any remaining critics and prove that he belongs among the elite in the lightweight division. Whether he can make a statement or if Farmer has another upset attempt in store remains to be seen. Jermall Charlo is set to return to the ring once again, stepping up to the super middleweight division for a fight on May 31st as part of a PBC event in Las Vegas. The former WBC middleweight champion will be featured on the undercard of ex-IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant, marking his latest attempt to reignite his stalled boxing career. Charlo will turn 35 on May 19th, and his return comes after a lengthy 2-year layoff. His last fight took place in 2023 when he secured a victory over former welterweight contender Jose Benavidez Jr. However, Charlo's performance in that fight was far from convincing, showing signs of rust from his previous 2-year absence from the sport. Now, history is repeating itself as he steps into the ring following another extended period of inactivity. Throughout his career, Charlo has accumulated an undefeated record, but his resume lacks victories over truly elite opposition. While he holds wins over notable names such as Sergey Derevianchenko, Julian Williams, Austin Trout, and Cornelius Bundrage, fighters who had previously faced Gennady Golovkin, he never managed to secure fights against the biggest names in the division, including Golovkin himself or Canelo Alvarez. Despite calling for those matchups in his prime, the opportunities never materialized, leaving questions about how he would have fared against the very best. At 35 years old and with effectively 4 years of inactivity, expectations for Charlo's comeback remain tempered. The reality is that his best hope now may be securing a high-profile fight through the lucrative Riyadh season events, where substantial financial incentives have been offered to established fighters. A showdown with someone like Terence Crawford could be an intriguing option, though a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez appears far less appealing to fans, given the stark difference in their current career trajectories. While this latest return doesn't inspire much optimism in terms of title aspirations, Charlo's name still carries weight, particularly among fans who remember his peak years between 2016 and 2021. If he manages to deliver a strong performance on May 31st, there is a possibility he could be positioned for a world title shot at 168 pounds. Given Canelo Alvarez's recent pattern of selecting opponents perceived as lower risk, Charlo could find himself as a viable option, provided he looks vulnerable enough to make the matchup commercially viable. The former two-division world champion once stood as one of the sport's biggest names, but his career trajectory took a drastic turn following his grueling bout against Juan Macias Montiel on June 19, 2021. That hard-fought victory seemingly drained his motivation, and despite the opportunity to challenge Canelo Alvarez for the Undisputed Super Middleweight Championship on September 30, 2023, Charlo ultimately declined, citing personal reasons. In his place, his twin brother, Jermall Charlo, stepped in to face Canelo, securing a significant payday of his own. Interestingly, Jermall has also been absent from the ring since that bout, leaving both Charlo brothers in an uncertain position within the sport. With Jermall now attempting yet another comeback, the boxing world will be watching closely to see if he can still compete at a high level, or if this is merely another short-lived return with financial incentives as the primary motivator. You can't expect every fight card to be a home run. Over the past few months, boxing fans have been treated to an unprecedented run of stacked events, all thanks to Saudi powerhouse Turki Alalshikh. From top to bottom, these cards have delivered nothing short of spectacular matchups, giving fans outstanding value for their money. But for the first time, Alalshikh finds himself facing some criticism. The recently announced May 3rd card in Riyadh, headlined by Canelo Alvarez defending his WBC, WBA, WBO, and Ring Magazine super middleweight titles against IBF champion William Scull, has left many fans underwhelmed. Here's the full lineup. Canelo versus Scull, Bruno Surace versus Jaime Munguia II, Martin Bakole versus Efe Ajagba, Badou Jack versus Rozicki, Marco Verde versus Michel Polina, and Brayan versus Guerro. Is this the next knockout chaos or day of reckoning? Number. But let's be realistic. Every fight card can't be a blockbuster. While Canelo versus Scull isn't a dream matchup, it's still an undisputed title fight. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Canelo is already set for a massive showdown against Terence Crawford in September. He could have opted to sit out the spring and summer, just as Crawford is doing, and waited for the Vegas super fight. Instead, he's making his Riyadh debut against an undefeated challenger. Scull may be a heavy underdog, but he's no pushover. The undercard does offer some intrigue. The Surace Munguia rematch is a fascinating one. Can the unheralded Frenchman shock the world again with another knockout, or will Munguia get his revenge? This one could go either way. Then there's the heavyweight clash between Bakole and Ajagba, which has the makings of a slugfest. Bakole is coming off a disastrous gamble against Joe Parker, but with proper preparation, he should be in far better shape for this fight. Ajagba, on the other hand, has legitimate knockout power, making this an unpredictable and potentially explosive contest. Badou Jack always brings excitement, and against his WBC mandatory challenger Ryan Rozicki, we could see a real war of attrition. The card will likely close out with Verde, Polina, and Guerro, two bouts that admittedly don't carry high expectations. However, there's always the possibility of additional fights being added. Ultimately, the biggest factor will be the pay-per-view price. If it stays at £19.99 in the UK, is there really much to complain about? Canelo remains one of the biggest draws in boxing, and at least 3 undercard fights look like genuine 50-50 matchups. So what do you think of the May 3rd card? Has Turki Alalshikh misfired this time, or is the criticism unwarranted? Thanks for tuning in again. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any exciting content. See you next time. Stay strong and motivated. Take care.